Are you a songwriter? Are you looking to turn your songwriting passion into a full-time gig? Whether you are just at the start of your songwriting journey or a seasoned industry professional, this show is made for you. Welcome to the Songwriter Show, bringing together songwriting news, interviews, and community. Now, welcome your host, Sarantos.
Thank you for tuning in, everyone, and welcome back to the Songwriter Show, right here on Reality Radio 101. I'm your host, Sarantos, a solo music artist who's been writing lyrics for as long as I can remember. Words are the world to me, and that's why I'm thrilled to host this show for you every Tuesday evening. I believe that every song and book is a story. So I'm excited today. We have Sandie Gascon. She's a health coach who has helped guide hundreds of people from over 25 countries on their healing journey. After suffering severe side effects from medications during her 20-year battle with chronic migraines when she was diagnosed with lupus, she committed herself to healing naturally. Through her experiences, she developed a whole body, mind, and spirit approach that addresses the person in a truly holistic manner.
And now, welcome this week's special guest.
Welcome to the show, Sandie. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So I'm excited sometimes to have authors because I myself am an author, and it's different than music and songwriting, but it's similar in a lot of ways. So what got you started writing?
Yeah, definitely similar. My husband's a musician and he's composed a lot of songs, and we both have the same vibe and energy when we're creating. What got me started writing was that as a health coach, I've been helping a lot of people, but as one person, you can only work with so many people. It's just, you can't possibly take on everyone. So I wanted to share the program that I had developed as a health coach that has been working really well with my clients, having a really great success rate. And so I sat down and I started to write, and everything just started to flow out, and Heal Yourself was created about a year after that.
Okay. And do you try to write every day? Do you try to write just when the mood strikes? How does that work for you?
So after I started writing Heal Yourself, and it was very inspirational, kind of like called to sit down and write, but having a toddler and running a business, having clients, and still wanting to really focus on my passions, I did commit to just writing for 1 hour a day. Sometimes I did longer, but most days I just wrote 1 hour a day for the entire year.
Okay. And how do you decide if what you wrote is worth keeping, if it's going to get tossed, if it's going to get archived, if it's going to be in the A pile, the B pile? How do you figure that out?
So I sit down and I more so free write. A lot of my inspiration for Heal Yourself was coming through the night. My toddler had a lot of trouble sleeping, and I was up and in meditation had a lot of ideas come to me. So I would get up when he woke up and I would write for an hour and just put all of those ideas down. And it wasn't till probably about month 10 that I was done and able to start editing. And that's when I went through everything.
Okay. Do you have any favorite authors that you'd care to confess on the show here?
Well, my favorite authors, I definitely go to fiction, and I love the Harry Potter books. I love the Lord of the Ring books, Dragonlance books. Those are my thing when it comes to reading. Usually right now I'm focusing on Wayne Dyer and Eckhart Tolle and the spiritual teachers and spiritual leaders. Those are my favorite. But when I'm reading for fun, it's going to be more so the fiction. And it's for fun for me too to read the mindset books. But those are some of my favorite authors.
Okay, awesome. Is there someone that you'd want to be in a room with or have a conversation with that you've always looked up to?
Oh, definitely Wayne Dyer. Sadly, he's passed away, but he has been such a big inspiration for me and such a big fueler on my journey. And he's just such a amazing soul. I wish I would have had a chance to sit down and talk to him.
Do you ever do any book readings or, public presentations at bookstores or just stadiums or anything that you do?
I haven't started it yet. I published Heal Yourself in August, and then we had a very quick, sudden move from Canada to Florida. So things were put on hold. And then at the beginning of the year, I actually began to create my Integrative Healing Academy, which is going to be launching in the next couple months, which is all about teaching people to do what I do as a health coach everything that's in Heal Yourself, but much, much more in depth to train people to do what I do and then to teach them to grow their business. So now that that's pretty well done being created and almost ready to launch, now I'm moving more into getting out there and promoting Heal Yourself again and promoting the Integrative Healing Academy, just so that I'm able to get more people doing what I do so that I can make a bigger impact. Because if I can work with 100 people a year, if I had 100 people doing what I do, we would make a much bigger impact.
Yeah. How do you balance life with writing, with promoting your book?
Balance for me is definitely a lot of mindset work, a lot of meditation, turning inwards. I take time to do that every single day. And then it's really setting boundaries, setting limitations on where I'm going to put my time, saying no to things that aren't a 10 for me. Delegation is a big thing. I try to delegate anything that doesn't feel like a 10, and a 10 being awesome and a 0 being something I don't like to do. Anything that's not my 10, I try to delegate it to other people so that it really frees up my time to put my focus onto the things that are really my zone of genius.
Yeah, okay. And do you think if you have someone that you're mentoring or someone that hits you up on social media and says, hey, how do I do this? Any advice you'd give them about how to be an author or doing what you're doing?
Yeah, well, to be an author, you want to have something that is ready to come out. And if you don't have something that's ready to come out, then just sit down and start writing and start listening. Really meditate for 1 to 2 hours every single day, just sitting and listening to your thoughts, listening to the environment, listening to your body. And the inspiration is there. We're all connected to it, but we have to get quiet enough to hear it. So if you don't have the idea, then you want to start listening and just start getting in the habit of writing every single day. Dedicate 30 minutes to an hour to free write. And as those inspiration starts coming to you while you're listening, you're going to have something to write about. And when you're free writing, don't edit, don't reread, just write. You're just getting into the habit of doing it. And if you already have an idea, then it's the same thing. Get into the habit of writing, because more often than not, it's fear of failure, success, all these sort of fears kick in on why we can't do it. And then we start to procrastinate. So we want to just get into the habit of writing for a certain amount of time each day and not editing, because when we edit, we're in a place of, will this sell? Will this be good enough? Versus a place of just listening to what's in our heart, what we're connected to source about, and just allowing that to flow through.
Yeah. You bring up a good point too, is talk a little bit to our listeners about the difference between getting it down, the creative side, versus the editing cap, and how that's a different process and which comes first, how much time should you spend on one or the other, because a lot of people I think don't really quite understand they're two different processes.
Yeah, definitely. They're two different brains. Like we have our writing brain, and then we have our editing brain, and we have our tech brain, and we have our recording brain. And if we just separate them and get in tune to one at a time, you definitely have to get enough on paper to have something to edit. You can also work with a coach that will help you, but again, they're going to be telling you what's going to sell versus, what needs to come through you. What is your inspiration? What is your passion? What needs to come out? So personally, I believe in just getting it out first and then spending whatever time you need to edit. And for me, that was a long time, because my spelling and my grammar leaves something to the imagination. I must have slept through that entire part in school. So it did take multiple edits, and that's why they say write the book that you want to read, because you're going to have to read it over and over and over again.
Yeah, I think that's important. Do you think connections are important?
Connections to people or connections to source? Which one?
To anything.
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty hard to do this yourself. And you're probably not going to be in your zone of genius if you're doing it yourself, all the aspects of it, from the editing to the publishing. And you really do need to create good connections with other people so that you're finding somebody who really resonates with you to work with. And that's something that I've really been trying to tune into lately is, is this person on my team a 10 for me? And this is actually from Kyle Cease's work, who I really admire, and tuning into what's a 10, because so often we're working with people who are a 4 and we don't love the vibration, but we stick with it because we either don't want to let them down or we don't want to hurt their feelings, or we're afraid we're not going to find somebody else. So you do want to make those connections with people. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to make the highest level connections, but if you find people who are passionate about what you're doing and you work with them to promote yourself, that's where the magic happens.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. How do you get people to take you seriously as an author?
I think that is all feeling in your own being that you're serious with yourself. So if you have confidence in your skills and your abilities and your tools, then other people are going to mirror that. If you're feeling that nobody's taking you seriously, it's probably because you're lacking confidence and they're just mirroring how you feel. So for me, I have the self-confidence in my abilities. So even though I may not be a doctor and I wrote a book on healing, I am very clear on my value because of all the experience that I do have. I've run thousands of tests for hundreds of people. I've taken so many courses and I get results with my clients. So for me, I'm very, very proud of Heal Yourself. It's a huge passion of mine. I poured myself into it. So I don't really see that with people not taking me seriously because I take myself seriously.
Yeah. Okay. Have you received any career advice that you would say is the best you've ever received that you can share with the listeners?
Definitely that do your tens. That is the best life advice because so often we're stuck in our fears, our limiting beliefs, and those keep us from moving forward. And if we start tuning into our passion and our purpose, which is what is our tens, what really make us feel good and come alive, and we're excited and we're feeling that connection and we're vibrant, then that's going to up-level whatever you're doing, whether it's your career, whether it's your relationships. That is going to up-level everything in your life because you're tuning in to that higher vibration.
What's your fondest memory?
Definitely having my son, Caden. That was my goal healing. So I suffered from multiple health issues. After the lupus diagnosis, I didn't think I was going to have a child. And when I did have a healthy baby boy and they put him on me, it was just the most magical, most fondest, most empowering memory time of my life.
When you look at, sometimes people kind of tend to talk to musicians or authors about backup plans. How do you respond to the backup plan questions that you might get?
Do you mean like backup plans in your career to have finances?
Yeah, like everybody assumes that we're not going to make it, and they always ask, like, what's your backup or what's your real job kind of thing. How do you respond to that?
Oh, well, for me, I already have a very successful corporation, Motivated to Heal. I am moving everything over to Florida, so it's going to be Sandie Gascon Integrative Healing. So I run a very successful coaching business. I have clients in over 25 countries. But what I would tell those people is move into faith and trust. In my Integrative Healing Academy, I have a business boom course where I teach people how to scale to 6 figures. And this goes for anyone. You can be a writer and you can just be doing that. But if you get into a state of lack where I need to pay the bills, I don't have the money to support my family, and you're not able at a consciousness level where you can really tune into those passions and purposes to raise your vibration and start attracting something different, then what I would do is start to bring passion into something else, do something else to pay your bills so you can move out of that state of lack and bring your passion for whatever you're doing into it. Because when you're focused on that passion and that vision, really stay focused on the vision of what you want to create, then you're going to start meeting people who are going to get you there. And when I started health coaching, I was actually running a massage therapy business. And even though massaging was no longer a 10, there was definitely a time where I loved being a massage therapist. I was very successful at it, but it was no longer my 10. But I still used it and brought everything I was doing with Motivated to Heal into my massage. And I would talk to people and I would sign up clients that were massage therapy clients and bring them into my Motivated to Heal business. I met people who were able to help me and give me tips on creating my new business. So when you bring your passion into what you do on a daily basis, and you are really confident in that, and you're really focused on your vision, you don't want to see yourself failing and see all these things happen. What you want to do is create the vision of where you're going to be and start living from that place and really focusing on it all the time. And then you're able to really create and attract what you need to create that vision.
Yeah, I think what you said is key about attract what you can't just be blindly out there looking in every direction. I think you also have to take a little ownership and figure out what you want so you can attract what you want with your attitude, with your business, with anything like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What do you anticipate happening in the next year or two for you? If you want to share with us any secrets, any news, anything that you want to share.
This year is definitely going to be incredibly exciting. So in the next couple months, I will be launching the Integrative Healing Academy. And that is definitely a 10 for me. I'm so excited to start training people to do what I do. And I love helping people learn how to make money. It is very exciting when you see people really get past those blocks that are keeping them from attracting abundance. And my husband and I are also working on getting our US visas. Our goal is to move to a off-grid, self-sufficient food freedom property. That is our goal that we're working for this year also. So in both the personal life and in my professional life, definitely some huge exciting changes happening.
What is your favorite 80s jam?
My favorite 80s jam. My gosh, I was born in 1985. So the 80s definitely aren't my favorite. They're not my year. You do
All right, let's do 90s. Let's do your favorite 90s jam.
90s, man, I don't listen to them anymore. I loved like Spice Girls and Backstreet Boys in the 90s. Those were my thing. I love classical music. That is my jam. I love to listen to Beethoven. My husband, as a musician, he plays every single genre out there. So there is always music. And right now, I have to say, my toddler is a Beatles junkie. He is 3.5 years old. He knows almost all the Beatles songs. You ask him, what's your favorite song? And he'll say like Hard Day's Night or She Loves Me, yeah, yeah. And he sings all of these songs and we're always listening to the Beatles. So I love the Beatles right now.
That's awesome. All right. What's the strangest compliment you've ever gotten for your books?
For my books? I don't think I've received any strange compliments on Heal Yourself. People have really loved it, which is amazing. Just a lot of gratitude for all the tools that I've shared in there. It's definitely one that you have to read multiple times for it to sink in. I definitely write, when I write, there's not a lot of fluff. It's, these are the concepts that you need to know. And it's definitely a lot of stuff jam-packed into that little, well, it's a 200-page book almost, so it's a big enough book, but my heart and soul is in there.
Yeah, okay. What was your coolest job you ever had that had nothing to do with creative arts?
Oh, my coolest job is definitely as a health coach. I really haven't had, in my life, I worked in Canada, we have Tim Hortons. It's like Dunkin' Donuts. And then I worked at Canadian Tire, which is kind of like Lowe's. And then from there, I went to university and then I went to college. And then I was a massage therapist for quite a few years. And then I moved into health coaching, and definitely health coaching is awesome. I get to sit at home, make my own schedule, and I get to help people all around the world heal their body and transform their life through mindset work. And I get to make a great amount of money doing it. And it's why I'm so passionate about the Integrative Healing Academy, because there are so many opportunities that people can pursue as a health coach. And anybody can do this. Anybody can learn this. All you have to do is have an interest in the science behind healing. You don't have to have a science background. As long as the interest is there, the passion is there. I've laid it out in the course that anybody can understand, but there's so many opportunities. You can do podcasts, you can do speaking tours, you can work with corporations, you can open retreats, you can just work from home and be a coach with people all over the world. You can work for functional medicine doctors, you can work for pharmacies. There's just so many options. You can write, and that's why I'm so excited about it.
Okay. Last question for you. If you could pick one genre of movies to watch for the next year, what genre would you pick?
Oh, I definitely do sci-fi and fantasy. My husband and I have been watching every single episode of Star Trek ever created, and we've been on this now for 2-3 years. So that's when we have our date night twice a week. We are watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine because I'm a Trek fan. I love Stargate. Stargate's definitely my favorite show. So that's what I tend to focus on. I don't watch a lot of movies because I find that mindset-wise, they can be a little bit disturbing. So I stick to things that are really out there in the fantasy world that don't have an effect on real life. So I love the sci-fi stuff.
Okay, awesome. Tell us, where can people buy your stuff, check you out, your socials, your website, anything you want to share with us?
Yeah, so you can actually get a free paperback copy of Heal Yourself at www.gethealyourself.com. It's also available on Amazon as an audiobook, paperback, hardcover, and ebook. And you can find more information about my coaching at www.sgintegrativehealing.com. And the Integrative Healing Academy links are not up yet. They're not quite ready for launch. So for more information on that, you can go to my Facebook group. It is Motivated to Heal Naturally, and I'm going to be posting the launch there. And then anybody who purchases Heal Yourself from the Get Heal Yourself website will have all access to all the updates.
It's awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on the show tonight. Really had fun.
Yeah, me too. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. So to all the listeners out there, thank you for sharing a little time with the two of us. We hope your own unique story gets heard around the world too. My name is Sarantos. Please join me every Tuesday night to hear other amazing artists and authors share their fascinating behind-the-scenes stories right here at the Songwriter Show on Reality Radio 101. Have a great night, everyone. I love you guys.
Is this where you wanna
Thank you for listening to The Songwriter Show. To keep the momentum going, head over to www.songwritershow.com and join our free music community of artists, songwriters, and producers. That's www.songwritershow.com.
This program was mixed and mastered by Landis Maitland Whitelaw at landismaitlandwhitelaw.com.